Greetings, I'm Walter D. Donnie Kennedy, Chief of Heritage Operation, and this is December's, can you believe that? December 2021 Commander's Comment. And as usual, we're here with our Commander-in-Chief, Larry McClooney Jr. Larry, good to have you here.
Good having you too, Donnie. It's great to be here.
Well, it's a good holiday season, and we know down south the holiday is Christmas and New Year. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Christmas season. And I want to remind folks, if you haven't already gone to Make Dixie Great Again, we have a couple of great videos about Christmas in Dixie and, of course, the first Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
So please go on our website, Make Dixie Great Again, download those videos and show them. And Commander, I don't know if you saw it, but last week, I believe you were on the SCV chat last week.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I know what you're fixing to bring up.
Yes, well, past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael did an excellent job on filling in some more information about Christmas in Dixie. And I just want to encourage folks, if you haven't seen it, didn't see it originally, they can go online. I believe.
Yes, they can go on there and they can see the rerun of the video itself. It's a really good program for the simple fact that there was a lot of things Chuck McMichael, past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael, brought up about Christmas, and a lot of the things, traditional things that we celebrate and observe, has such a Southern beginning.
Southern roots. I tell you, America really owes a lot to the South. That's all I can say. And of course, in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we feel that is true, especially in the way that we view these holidays. It is a Christian area, and Christmas means a lot to us. Being good Christians and religious people, I want to just mention the SCV Relief Fund. Can you tell, because everybody should know by now of the tragedy of the tornadoes that went through that region.
The SCV Relief Fund is, since we are a benevolent society, that we raise funds for our members when they're in dire straits. As you know, the tornadoes that hit Mayfield, Kentucky, which there is an SCV camp there.
Yes.
They need our help. And every bit that you give to this relief fund goes to the support of our compatriots that need help during this time. A lot of times you hear about areas of our nation that was hit by hurricanes. And, you know, what was it? I was just watching the news the other day. It said that this is the most tornadoes they've seen in the month of December.
Absolutely. I was in my front yard the day of the tornado, and my wife and I remarked how warm and humid. I said, this is tornado weather. Mm-hmm. Now, tornado also touched down in Arkansas, Missouri as well, and up into Illinois. We have SCV members in camps in Illinois and Indiana and those areas. So
yes, we do.
We're not talking about just people in the South. So.
No, we're talking about occupied areas as well.
Right. Now, any donation is tax deductible.
Yes,
is that
sir,
correct?
it is.
We are
a
501(c)(3) tax deductible organization. So if you want to go online, folks, I'm going to give you a quick rundown unless you want to do this.
Go ahead.
All right, a quick rundown on how you can make this donation. You can go to scv.org. As soon as you get on the landing page, under the title Sons of Confederate Veterans, you'll see 6 drop-down menu tabs. Select the number 5 tab that says Contact. When you hit on that, you'll open up to several boxes, and one of the first ones says Contribute to the Cause. Tap on that, and that will open up to a page of donation options. I think there are 9 donation options there. Go to if you want to donate to the relief fund, go to the option that says SCV Relief Fund. Tap on that, and you can make a credit card or PayPal donation.
Yes,
now,
sir.
If you want to just mail a check in, you can mail the check. I believe just make it out to Sons of Confederate Veterans, but put on your memo tab SCV Relief Fund, and you can mail that to Sons of Confederate Veterans, P.O. Box 59, Columbia, Tennessee 38402.
And let me remind you that December, with Christmas coming up, this is the season of giving. You know, give generously to for these compatriots who do need our help, our relief.
Absolutely. They're our members and their families are we need to support them, and we encourage you to do so. All right, Commander, let's talk about something that we always seem like to hit on and touch on is cultural genocide. It kind of continues in the country. I bet you haven't noticed that this last few weeks, have you? Well, the attack right now, I noticed, of all places, in Idaho. Now, I was in Idaho around Boise, this past November or September, I forget now, at the division meeting, the Northwest Pacific Division, SCV. Yes, we have a lot of SCV members out there, but there's a church there that had a stained glass window, Commander. It commemorated on this stained glass window George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Robert E. Lee. And the woke community decided to remove it. And they removed all of them, not just General Lee, but also Lincoln and Washington, General Washington.
What does that just say? It goes right back to what we've been trying to say for years now. This is an attack on our American culture, American values. It's not Confederate.
Absolutely. And you know, sometimes, as I say, we talk about this till we're blue in the face, but we're serious. These attacks are not just on Southern ideas, Southern heroes, Southern forms of government. It's an attack upon traditional American values. I was interested to note that in the message about the removal of this stained glass window, they said that Lee was, quote, and this is how they describe General Lee. They also had a description of other leaders, but said Lee was a, quote, Civil War general and slaveholder, which I found hilarious because General Lee, yes, he owned slaves at one time, but he had freed his slaves. Yes. At Appomattox, when he surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant, Grant was still a slaveholder. And interesting enough, if you'll Google it, find out what was the last U.S. president who owned slaves. General Ulysses S. Grant. Yep. He was the last president to be a slaveholder. So if you follow this woke mentality, probably 80 to 90% of American history has to be trash bin. Now, we're not defending slavery, but we do want to know the truth about American history. And General Grant, Abraham Lincoln, Robert E. Lee, Stonewall, Jefferson Davis, they're all under attack. So I found that very interesting. Another incident I ran across, Commander, was the Philadelphia Inquirer noted that some historical markers in Pennsylvania near Gettysburg had been, I think they call it remodeled or renamed, because they said it was paying too much deference to Confederate soldiers. So they wanted to remake it so to make it look like the Confederates were really the bad guys.
Let's see how well that affects their tourism as well, because keep in mind, that's their number one moneymaker is the war itself.
Absolutely. And this was close to Gettysburg, of all places.
And I would imagine that if you looked at their tourism counts, most of the people that come and visit that battlefield are Southerners.
As a matter of fact, and I don't have that statistic right now, but about 4 to 5 years ago, I looked it up, and of the, quote, Civil War battlefield, this is how the Federal National Park Service listed, out of the Civil War battlefields, 70 to 80% of the tourists are Southerners. Yeah. And of course, it makes sense for one thing. Most battlefields are in the South, but Antietam and Gettysburg are not. When you look at Antietam and Gettysburg, now I know my Maryland friend's going to kill me. Antietam, Sharpsburg is in Maryland, which at that time was a very southern state, but right now it's in more of a northern environment. But even those battlefields are heavily majority southern tourists.
Yes, they are.
Southerners go there to see where their ancestors lived and fought, and many of them died. So that's why they go there, and they don't go there to read placards about their ancestors being evil slaveholders. That's just not the truth. So we see this going on all the time. Obviously, they don't want anything good said about the South, or especially the Confederate South. So they're continuing their attack.
Exactly.
Now, that's some negative stuff. Now, here's an interesting, I think, a positive thing. I just ran across this a couple of days ago. In Charleston, South Carolina, they had a beautiful monument to John C. Calhoun. Some of the woke community there in the middle of the night had this monument removed. Well, some of our friends in Charleston area have filed a lawsuit against those people, and there's a good possibility either they'll have the monument replaced or placed in another suitable site, because that goes along with their monument protection bill.
Exactly. And we are partners in on that.
Yes. Our people are involved in various different organizations other than the SCV, but the SCV has been leading the charge in many of these areas. Now, one of the areas, and we may have talked about this the last time we were here, one of the areas that I'm really proud to say that we've had some great success has been in Virginia. I think we talked about this before. In the last year, there have been at least 9 referendums in Virginia. Do you want to keep Confederate monuments or do you want to move them? Every one of those referendums passed by a super majority of people saying, leave those monuments alone.
Yeah, and look at the communities that's doing this. These are, I would say, traditional communities where American values are very prevalent. These are your going to church every Sunday, family communities. They're standing up. We're starting to see a pushback there in Virginia.
Right.
Even though, Monument Row was taken down in Richmond, Charlottesville, VMI. But if you think about it, rural Virginia is really pushing back.
And that part of Virginia is really about 70% of the state. But, I always like to tell people, everything that was lost can be regained. It's not gone for good. Now, Charlottesville, I hear they're going to take Lee's monument and melt it down. Well, that will never be replaced, but one day we can replace another one.
Yes.
Bigger, better, more fantastic. One day Monument Avenue Boulevard, it can be just as pristine as it once was. And I'm the eternal optimist. I believe if we continue to work as we've been working in the past to educate people about who we are, Southerners, Sons of Confederate Veterans, motivate those people to get out and get things going and activate, turn them into activists, we can win.
Yeah, and go back to what I was saying. They take them down, we put them back up.
Absolutely, and we have been putting them back up.
Yes, we have.
And a lot of people don't hear about that, and that's another reason they need to listen to SCV Chat. They need to read their Confederate veteran. They need to watch us on the Commander's Comment, because the information, we need to get it out to our friends and our foes that we, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we're active.
Exactly.
Well, folks, that's part 1 of December's Commander's Comment, and we'll be back with part 2 shortly.